Our Old Testament reading for December the 8th, 2024 comes from Malachi chapter 3, verse 1 through 4. See, I am sending a messenger to prepare the way before me. This is the passage used to describe the coming of John the Baptist. Now, when we look at the sins that the prophets wailed against, there were two types. One was the false religiosity, the fundamentalism of its day. That Isaiah went over and said, all of your sacrifices, all of your lip service, all of your rituals, they mean nothing if you don't love justice and seek mercy and walk humbly before the Lord, if you don't take care of the widow and the orphan, if you don't have compassion in your heart, if you don't have the love of God in your heart for God's creation, then all of your rituals, all of your fundamental practices are worth nothing. On the opposite side, we have from Malachi, as we also do from the prophets to Israel. And that is, you don't even pretend to have religiosity. You don't have it in your heart. You don't even have it in your actions. You sacrifice things to God out of what is there for spirit, defiled animals. You are not committing your life to God. This extreme liberal approach that anything goes and nothing really matters. That God's God, but why should we really care? Yeah, we follow God, but what has God done for us lately? Or at least that was the feeling that the people had that Malachi was addressing. They had come back from captivity to come back to Jerusalem. Remember the promises of Isaiah that the road would be made straight and there would be this glorious new Jerusalem. They got back and Jerusalem was in ruins. And they think back in the city of Babylon and they look at Jerusalem going, they're treated better than we are. And we're children of God. We're the chosen people. And they're not. Seems like not being chosen is much better than being chosen. In fact, they go over there and they start going, it seems like the children of Esau had it a lot better than the children of Jacob. And they start questioning and they start doubting. And with their doubts and their questions, they stop performing rituals. They stop doing those things that are there to remind them of who they are. Rituals, the fundamental practices, are not there to make us righteous. They're to remind us that God is God and we are not. As Paul says in Romans, the purpose of the law is to convict us of our sin. It is to put our reality in the correct context. That we are not masters of our own fate. That God is the creator and that we worship an awesome God. It is to bring us to our knees. And then once we come to our knees, the grace of God lifts us up so that we might show that same compassion and love to others as we ourselves have received. But for the people that were there that Malachi was addressing, they had stopped even practicing the rituals correctly. And so Malachi warns and says, the day of the Lord is coming. The Lord will come and will judge. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And you need to be reminded of this fact. A messenger will come. He will be like a refiner's fire, like a washer's soap. He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver, and he will purify the descendants of Levi. He will convict you of your sin. He will show you your need for repentance. He will call for you to fall on your knees before the Lord and beg mercy of the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. For the one who gave life can easily take life. This is the purpose of the messenger. The messenger is to prepare the way of the Lord. How can the Lord offer grace and healing to those who believe that they are healthy and need nothing? Grace is only received when our own brokenness is acknowledged by ourselves. When we realize, as Paul did, that everything I want to do, I don't do, and everything I don't want to do is the thing I do, and there is no help in me. I can't do it on my own. Only when we admit that we are dependent upon God are we ready to receive God's grace, God's strength, God's love, and God's mercy. As long as we live under the illusion that we are all we need, there is no repentance, and therefore there is no grace. This is the message of Malachi, that one will come and will call you back to the ways of your fathers and your forefathers, your mothers and your grandmothers. When that happens, listen. For the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. It's only when we realize we don't know the way that we then begin to walk by faith.